What's up, guys? Philip at Trade Genius. All right, we're going to talk about the VanEck and SolidX ETF. Now, these guys, if you recall, have an application into the SEC. Theirs is the most likely candidate to be approved for a ETF that is backed by physical Bitcoin. But they went ahead and did something that Yahoo is touting this as a limited version of the Bitcoin ETF. But I'm going to talk a little bit about what that means exactly and how that's going to affect things like GBTC, which is the current fund and the only really fund that you can get exposure to in your stock portfolio to Bitcoin. So we'll talk about what the implications of that are. We'll look at the GBTC chart, we'll talk about the last little trade that we did. If you're interested in getting those signals, you can head over to Trade Like a Genius. We have specials running. You can also get in the room with us on these specials. But that being said, let's dive into this article and look at the GBTC chart and see what all this means.
Trade Genius.
All right, guys, so diving into this article, investment management firms VanEck Securities Corp and SolidX Management are planning to sell a limited version of the Bitcoin Exchange Traded Fund, or ETF, to institutional investors on Thursday. I believe that goes live Friday, September 6th. And it falls under, so what they're going to do is they're going to actually depart. This isn't the actual ETF that they're applying for. This is going to be actually like a fund that they can actually, through some technical or technicalities, can actually bring to the market to institutional investors. Okay, so this is not for the retail crowd. The unusual arrangement is under the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission's SEC Rule 144A, which allows the sale of privately placed securities to qualified institutional buyers. All right, so you're not going to be able to buy this if you're a retail crowd, or if you have a self-directed IRA or something that you trade through Ameritrade or E-Trade. You won't be able to access this. So this doesn't totally cut off or totally compete with GBTC, but it does affect how much that they have under management, because there's a lot of institutional investors that do have size with GBTC. Okay, but the way this is set up, this ETF, or not really an ETF, but this 144A rule, this fund is actually going to be giving those types of customers more competitive pricing. And we're going to get to that in a minute because of the way that the GBTC premium is. But basically what they're doing here, by taking advantage of this loophole, they're hoping that this limited version will act as proof that a Bitcoin ETF can work. I actually do agree with this strategy, and I think that given the amount of time that they have left on deferring the decision on the actual ETF, I think this is probably going to help put that decision to bed, and they actually will go ahead and approve ultimately a Bitcoin ETF, which ultimately is going to be focusing only on the accredited investors, institutional size investors. That ETF approval, when it does get approved, would only be for those guys. It doesn't include the retail crowd. That would likely probably come later in 2020, if at all, at the moment. So again, this looks similar to Grayscale's closed-end fund GBTC, which invests exclusively in Bitcoin. Now, they hold $2.3 billion worth of assets and under management, or AUM, and almost 240,000 Bitcoins. So they're a huge, huge holder of Bitcoins in that fund. And again, they do have the institutional investors. So that being said, let's look at the GBTC chart. Okay, so up here we have what is the candles are or Bitcoin, price of Bitcoin. The orange line is the price of GBTC, okay? And so you can see it more or less tracks along with the price of Bitcoin. Down below here, we have the premium of GBTC. Now, it's been a good marker of when to buy dips, when to sell rips, and a bear market has different premium ranges than a bull market. So bull market premium ranges are anywhere from 40s, low 40s to about 25. Okay, that's your premium range. And no-brainer trade would just be to buy the low end of that range and sell the high end of that range. And that would capture a lot of moves, not only in the price of Bitcoin, but also in the price of premium. If you capture premium down here and sell it up here, price could trade relatively flat, but you'd see a nice increase in the price of your GBTC holdings. So you can increase your gains if both things happen, premium and price go up. So it's a good way that you can trade and make decent money doing that. In a bear market, things tend to gyrate below the 25 level. So what's going to happen is I would expect to see probably some of the Bitcoins that GBTC holds under management leave, head to this new VanEck fund, and that's probably going to drive premiums down. So, the last trade we took in the room was this trade from about $11 and 1170 area, 1180, and we took profit up here near 13. That was a nice trade. Okay, that was probably near 10% move on that trade, and we didn't see premium jump. Normally, when you get like the gap up happen over the weekend, normally what you'll see along with that move is a jump in premium, and we haven't seen that. So I think what we're going to see going forward is the GBTC premium actually is going to drop and maybe create like a new range. Even though we're in a bull market, wait for that exodus of those funds to come out. And what I'm actually excited about this is that it's really going to be more retail centric. Since only the retail guys can pile into GBTC, it's going to be a real good indicator of where the FOMO is, or the fear of missing out is, similar to what we see with the fear and greed indicator, right? Fear and greed indicator, great retail sentiment. It's usually counterintuitive. So usually in the past has been a good indication of market bottoms and tops. I think the same thing is going to happen even more so here with GBTC. So for that, I'm looking forward to that. All I'm going to do now is see how the premium ranges and see, because that'll also be a good indication going forward still of where the bottoms and tops are. It's just probably going to trend lower now that we have less of the high-end institutional investors, using this as a vehicle. And I think premiums are going to drop for a bit. So just wanted you to be aware of that dynamic. Now that there's some competition will drive down premiums and cause them to trade in a lower range, because there's more than one option now for people trying to get into traditional stock-like strategies with trying to get exposure to Bitcoin and not through a crypto exchange. All right, guys, well, that's it for this video. I just thought I would kind of clarify that, give you guys a heads up on that fund. Again, all very positive for the crypto space, especially for Bitcoin, as it continues to grow in its role as a store of value, as we wait for other applications and other layers to be built on top of it and ultimately settle back to Bitcoin because of its security. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Please hit like and subscribe. It really helps out our channel. And I'll see you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.
Trade Genius.